Have you ever wondered how the wisest man who ever lived, King Solomon, fell from grace? In this video, we'll explore Solomon's fascinating story, from his rise as a beloved king to his tragic downfall. We'll unravel the secrets of his reign, his monumental achievements, and the mistakes that led to his ruin. If you're seeking powerful lessons on wisdom, power, and the pitfalls that can destroy even the greatest, this video is for you. Solomon was a king of Israel who lived approximately in the 10th century BCE. He ruled during the Iron Age, at a time when the kingdom of Israel was at its most prosperous and influential. Solomon reigned in Jerusalem, the capital of the kingdom, and his influence extended over a vast region of the ancient Middle East. He was the son of King David and Bathsheba. His ascension to the throne was neither immediate nor simple. On his deathbed, David named Solomon as his successor, following a promise made to Bathsheba. This occurred amidst intrigues and power struggles within the royal court. One of Solomon's first actions upon becoming king was to consolidate his power by eliminating adversaries and securing the loyalty of key figures in the kingdom, such as the priest Zadok and the prophet Nathan. One of Solomon's earliest major actions as king was to ask God for wisdom to govern the people justly, a choice that pleased God and was rewarded with unparalleled wisdom, as well as wealth and honor. He also strengthened the administration of the kingdom by organizing it into districts and appointing officials responsible for tax collection and provisions. Solomon is most renowned for his wisdom, which became legendary. One of the most famous examples of his wisdom is the judgment of two women who claimed motherhood of a baby, where he suggested splitting the child in half to reveal the true mother. Furthermore, his reign was marked by an era of great economic and cultural prosperity. He promoted trade and made advantageous diplomatic alliances, such as his marriage to the daughter of the Pharaoh of Egypt. The construction of Solomon's temple in Jerusalem was one of the greatest achievements of his reign, becoming a center of worship and a symbol of his golden era. Solomon transformed Israel into a center of culture, commerce, and power, leaving a legacy that would be remembered for generations. Solomon's temple, built in Jerusalem, was one of the greatest achievements of his reign and a landmark in Israel's history. It was the religious center of the Israelite people and housed the Ark of the Covenant, symbolizing God's presence among the people. The construction of the temple took about 7 years and involved materials of the highest quality, including cedar from Lebanon, gold, and precious stones. The temple became a symbol of the covenant between God and Israel, as well as demonstrating the wealth, prosperity, and organizational capability of the kingdom under Solomon's rule. Key political and economic achievements. Solomon divided the kingdom into 12 administrative districts, each responsible for supplying provisions to the royal court for 1 month of the year. This structure ensured efficient administration and equitable distribution of resources, strengthening the kingdom's cohesion. In addition to the temple, Solomon also built a royal palace and several other important structures such as fortresses and storage cities. These constructions not only fortified the kingdom's infrastructure but also demonstrated Israel's power and wealth to neighboring nations. Solomon expanded trade routes and established agreements with various nations, including Tyre, Egypt, and kingdoms of Arabia. He developed a powerful merchant fleet that sailed to Ophir, bringing gold, silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks. These commercial activities brought immense wealth to the kingdom, making Israel a significant trade center in the region. He was a master of diplomacy and used strategic marriages to consolidate alliances. He married the daughter of the Pharaoh of Egypt, which strengthened the alliance between Israel and Egypt, one of the greatest powers of the time. This union ensured peace and stability for Israel, allowing Solomon to focus on internal development and economic expansion. Solomon also formed a significant alliance with King Hiram of Tyre, who provided materials and expertise for the construction of Solomon's temple. This collaboration was mutually beneficial and cemented a lasting friendship between the two kingdoms. He married many princesses from neighboring nations, including Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and Hittites. These marriages brought temporary peace and cultural influences to the kingdom. However, they also led Solomon to allow foreign religious practices in Israel, which eventually contributed to his downfall. These alliances and marriage strategies strengthened Solomon's kingdom and increased his international prestige, but they also sowed the seeds of future challenges as foreign influences began to undermine Israelite faith and culture. To finance his grand constructions and maintain his luxurious lifestyle, Solomon imposed heavy taxes on the people. Additionally, he instituted forced labor, obliging many Israelites to work on his construction projects. These policies caused growing dissatisfaction among the population, undermining popular support and generating resentment. Solomon centralized power in Jerusalem, reducing the autonomy of the tribes of Israel. This centralization weakened tribal loyalties and increased tensions between the central government and the various tribes, especially those in the north, who felt marginalized. Solomon was accused of favoring his allies and relatives in important appointments, creating an environment of corruption and discontent among local leaders who felt overlooked. He married many women from other nations as part of his strategy to consolidate political alliances. While these marriages temporarily strengthened diplomatic relations, they brought cultural and religious challenges to Israel. Solomon's foreign wives brought their own cultures and religious practices with them. To please them, Solomon allowed the construction of altars and temples for their gods, introducing pagan cults into Israel. This led to religious syncretism, diluting the purity of Israelite faith and causing division among the people. Influenced by his foreign wives, Solomon began adopting religious practices prohibited by Israelite faith. He built altars for gods such as Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, Moloch, the god of the Ammonites, and Chemosh, the god of the Moabites. This adoption of foreign gods was a serious departure from the monotheistic faith that his father, David, and the prophets had established. If you wish to delve deeper into your understanding of the fascinating facts about Solomon discussed in this video, in the comments, we provide a valuable resource that complements the content covered here. Solomon's idolatry brought disapproval from God, who had repeatedly warned against such practices. Prophets began to warn of the consequences of these acts, and the religious cohesion of the kingdom was severely compromised. This resulted in prophecies of division and punishment, which eventually came to pass after Solomon's death. The adoption of foreign practices and gods weakened the kingdom's unity, breeding discontent and rebellion. Solomon's authority was undermined both by popular dissatisfaction and by the loss of divine favor. His kingdom, once a model of prosperity and wisdom, began to crumble, leading to the eventual division of Israel into two separate kingdoms after his death. These practices and foreign influences not only eroded Solomon's authority but also seeded the disintegration of the kingdom he had so skillfully built. Solomon's heavy taxation policies and forced labor generated growing discontent among the population. The people began to feel oppressed and exploited, seeing their wealth and resources diverted to sustain the luxurious life of the king and his grand projects. The centralization of power and favoritism towards certain groups and tribes led to growing internal division. The northern tribes, in particular, felt marginalized and exploited, creating a basis for future rebellion against the central government. This sense of injustice and exclusion weakened national unity and planted the seeds for the future division of the kingdom. Various prophets, including Ahijah and Nathan, were sent by God to warn Solomon of the dangers of his actions. They warned that idolatry and violation of divine laws would bring severe consequences not only to Solomon but to the entire kingdom of Israel. The prophets predicted that, due to Solomon's disobedience, the kingdom would be divided after his death. They prophesied that God would take most of the kingdom from his son's hands, leaving only one tribe under the control of David's dynasty, as a measure of grace because of the promise made to David. Solomon's idolatry and adoption of foreign religious practices resulted in the loss of God's favor. God declared that, because of Solomon's unfaithfulness, the kingdom would be taken away from his lineage, except for one tribe that would be kept in honor of David. The divine protection and blessing that once sustained Solomon began to fade away, paving the way for internal and external problems. With the withdrawal of divine favor, Solomon faced both internal and external revolts. Hadad the Edomite and Rezon's son of Eliada rose up against him, causing ongoing issues. Additionally, Jeroboam, one of his officials, was inspired by Ahijah the prophet to rebel, prophesying that he would rule over the 10 northern tribes after Solomon's death. The people, already dissatisfied with taxes and forced labor, began to see Solomon not as a wise and just leader, but as an oppressive tyrant. Popular discontent grew, and many began to question the legitimacy and fairness of his government. This growing discontent culminated in the rebellion that, after his death, resulted in the division of the kingdom into Israel, north, and Judah, south. These combined factors demonstrate how the loss of divine favor, along with unpopular internal policies, led Solomon to lose the support of his people and of God, resulting in the downfall of his kingdom. Solomon's story teaches us that even the greatest wisdom can be compromised by temptation. Solomon began his reign with unparalleled wisdom, but his decisions were progressively influenced by passions and desires that diverted his focus. We learn that it is crucial to remain vigilant and self-aware, even when possessing great knowledge or power. It is important to recognize our weaknesses and establish clear boundaries to avoid succumbing to temptations that can compromise our values and judgments. Solomon also shows us that integrity is crucial for effective and lasting leadership. Initially, his integrity and devotion to God brought prosperity and respect. However, by allowing the corruption of his values and compromising his principles, he undermined his own authority and the stability of his kingdom. For modern leaders, this highlights the importance of maintaining integrity and ethics, regardless of external pressures and internal temptations. Integrity builds trust, strengthens cohesion, and ensures a positive legacy. Solomon's lessons are timeless and applicable in various aspects of contemporary life. Carefully evaluate the consequences of our choices, especially when they involve moral and ethical compromises. Manage resources responsibly, avoiding exploitation and ensuring sustainable balance. Maintain relationships that strengthen our values and support us in our growth, rather than diverting us from our path. Solomon's history is a powerful reminder that learning from past mistakes is essential to building a better future. Ignoring mistakes can lead to repeating the same errors and facing the same negative consequences. By reflecting on Solomon's life, we can identify areas in our own lives where we can apply these lessons to avoid similar pitfalls and promote sustainable growth and success. We want to hear your thoughts. Leave your comments below and share your reflections on Solomon's story. Have you faced situations where you had to balance wisdom and temptation? How do you maintain your integrity in moments of pressure? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one, and share this video with your friends and family so everyone can learn from the valuable lessons of Solomon's life.